to be here today because we're here today in celebration of this bill passing, the MENA data disaggregation bill passing at the state Senate level and for the first time at the Assembly level.
After an hour debate.
After an excellent debate. Lots of love for that debate. And just, we feel a lot of gratitude for everyone in the coalition, all of our members, our community, all of our elected partners for getting this bill very close to the finish line. And today we're making a very specific ask from Governor Hochul to make sure and to demand that she does sign the bill to get it to the community. And so today we're going to hear from our elected partners, we're going to hear from our coalition members about why this bill is so deeply important to us. Okay? My name is Rana Abdelhamid. I'm the executive director of MENA, which is an anti-violence organization which is just down the block. And every single day I'm reminded why this bill is so important. Every single day at MENA, with MENA, we offer direct services. Actually today is the second to last day. She's going to get her social. We directly work with our community, the majority of whom are North African, coming from Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, and most recently a lot more folks from Mauritania. And every single day we see the challenges that our community members face. We see the reality of housing insecurity and how it impacts them and their ability to pay rent. We see the realities of inequities within our healthcare system, how they don't have language access resources when they're going to our local hospitals at times. And we see the realities of inequity within our education system. We see that anecdotally, but we never get to see that from a data perspective. And the reason why we don't get to see it from a data perspective is because our community is categorized as white. And y'all can look at us. We do not identify as white as a community, but we also do not experience white privilege as a community. This neighborhood in particular has experienced a lot of varying levels of state-sanctioned violence. We see that with surveillance, we see that with stop and frisk, and we also see that with just the inequity of the experiences of our small business community during the pandemic season. And so we're here to change that with all of you, and we are really, really excited and ready to make sure that this change does happen this year, 2024. So with that, I'm excited and honored to introduce our first community member who will be speaking on behalf of why this bill is important. He is from this neighborhood. I'm surprised as well.
No pressure.
As Anna and many people here know, I am not the type who gives speeches or it's not my vibe.
Go YL.
But no, it's very important as somebody who's both Egyptian and Moroccan in heritage. My mother comes from Morocco and my dad comes from Egypt. We filled out immigration applications, healthcare applications, all types of applications, and we're never represented in those in an appropriate way. And this bill aims to do that. This bill passed both houses. Passed the White House. Twice, and our amazing Assembly member passed it in the Assembly. By the way, our deputy majority leader carried this bill in the Senate, which is a big reason why we passed it. So all that's left now is the governor to put her quote-unquote John Hancock on it and sign it. And that's what we're hoping for, and that's what we're supporting while we're here. Thank you.
Okay, with that was a really great segue to actually for the third time standing here, for good reason, to reintroduce someone that you all know very well, obviously, our deputy majority leader, who is the person who introduced this bill, who was an ally for us from the very beginning. I didn't even have to explain the reason why this bill is important twice, and who is the reason why we were able to pass it unanimously twice at the state Senate level. So please help me in welcoming.
Thank you, Rana. I appreciate of all the times you've been here, she didn't tell the full story of being from Morocco. But Rana deserves a tremendous amount of credit for getting us this far. She was the one who brought this issue to my attention to begin with, and we Assembly Member Gonzalez Rojas, who did amazing work. She had to debate this for quite some time in the Assembly due to the ignorance of the opposition to this issue. In the Senate, it passed unanimously without debate. So, because ultimately, this is a really simple issue. It's not that complicated. It shouldn't be controversial. Because of all the thousands and thousands of issues and bills I voted on in my time, this is one of the easiest things. People who are not, in fact, white should not be identified as white for state's data purposes, and they shouldn't be forced to make that decision for themselves. You see before us leaders of the Middle East and North African communities who will tell you themselves they do not identify as white. So why does our state government force them to do so? It is offensive to them, but also it is a real liability to those communities, because so many state services, so much of the attention of state government is driven by the data we collect. And we don't know where these communities are, what the data is that supports them, what are their income levels, what are the specific needs of the MENA community. We are not doing our part to service them the way we should. And so you see we have a number of senators who have joined us today, who you'll hear from. We had tremendous support to make this happen, because again, let me be very clear. The opposition to this idea is dumb. It doesn't make any sense at all. So if people want to be ignorant and spout about why this shouldn't happen, I dare them to come talk to me about it, because they essentially want to tell you that they want to force people to be counted as white who are not white. And there is no good reason for that to happen in New York State. So I'm glad we got this far. Let's make sure the governor signs the bill and gets it done. And we're going to be standing here as long as it takes until that happens. Thank you.
And the person who introduced this at the state assembly level, has been the lead sponsor of this bill at the state assembly level, Jessica Gonzalez Rojas, who you all watch debate so eloquently. And make all the haters sign up.
Thank you, everyone. I'm so proud to be here alongside community leaders and my fellow colleagues in government. My name is State Assembly Member Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. I represent just north of the highway right here. This bill has been near and dear to my heart, because quite honestly, I'm obsessed with numbers, I'm obsessed with data, and I'm obsessed with the census. And if you pull up the 2020 census, there's question 9 that says, what is your race? And then it says, check off your race and print your origin. So under the white category, which is the first one, it says white, and then it says print your origin, for example, Irish, German, Italian, Egyptian, Lebanese. So that is making it clear that by U.S. Census standards, people of North African and Middle Eastern descent are considered white. And as we've heard here today, the MENA community, as we belovedly call them, MENA, Middle Eastern North African community, have not experienced white privilege. In fact, have been surveillance, targeted, and experienced a lot of oppression here in the state. And data is so critical, because it helps inform health disparities, it helps inform opportunity for minority-owned businesses, it helps inform ways in which environmental injustices disproportionately impact communities. And unfortunately, our Middle Eastern North African communities are not included in any of those data. And I just gained parts of Astoria last year, and yay, I love Astoria. And again, look around us, right? The Middle Eastern North African community is vibrant, is powerful, is present, yet they're invisible. Because I went from a district that was 11% white, and when I gained North Astoria, it became 27% white. And I know this community, and I know that much of those people who were counted in the white category were in fact Middle Eastern North African. But as a number and as a data, they were not included. And that is unjust. So I think about the ways that data informs even redistricting. The purpose of redistricting is to keep communities of interest together. And I know for sure the MENA community is a community of interest that has been invisibilized in this process. So I'm so proud to have carried the bill in the State Assembly with my partner, Senator Gianaris, in the Senate. He had a much easier time getting it passed. But I was willing to fight for it. I'm thrilled to have fought for it and had worked alongside so many of the advocates and leaders. And I want to give a shout out to the women here who are on the front lines of doing that work. And I'm very grateful to my brothers as well. But it really takes a village to advance a policy like this that shouldn't be controversial. But again, now the next step is to get the governor to sign it. So we are all here in unison, collectively to say, Governor Hochul, this is so important. We ask you to sign this bill today. Thank you so much. Let's get it done.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we know that this effort would not be possible without a coalition of elected leaders. And so I'm really excited to introduce someone who has been also not just on the front lines of helping support data disaggregation for the MENA community, but also the AAPI community. We have with us today State Senator Liu.
Thank you, Rana. Thank you very much for the kind words. But let's be clear, it doesn't suck to have Mike Gianaris carry a bill for the state senate. In any event, Rana talked about how many of us have been undertaking efforts to ensure that state and city resources are used to the maximum effectiveness. And a lot of that has to do with understanding communities that you're trying to serve. Well, if the state continues to treat people who were never considered white, don't consider themselves white, and never had white privilege, then they're missing the mark. And that's why we need this bill. This bill identifies not only the ethnicities and the origins of a large and fast-growing group of New Yorkers, but it also identifies some of their needs. Talked about institutional oppression. There's just outright bias in the community as well, and underserved communities, underserved populations, including a growing number of senior citizens, many more kids in our public schools. So we need to identify the New Yorkers we're trying to serve and clearly understand the needs. And that's why this data disaggregation bill is really the first step to doing our jobs right. Governor Hochul was very kind to sign a data disaggregation bill for the Asian American Pacific Islander community a couple of years ago. We thank her for that. Governor, take the next step, help the state and state agencies and your office also understand better the Middle Eastern and North African community. Sign the bill. Thank you.
Next, we have someone who has been a longtime leader in this community, who we actually, as Menica, just had the opportunity to connect with. And I remember us talking about this bill in your office, and you were so eager to support. We're so grateful to have your support. State Senators.
Thank you. Thank you, Ronna. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Like the Assemblywoman, I began representing the area to the north on January 1st, 2023. In fact, 98% of my district is new to me, and yet I've gotten around, and I must tell you, this is a unique community. And when I heard the story of your anti-violence program, I said this is something we should support, and obviously with the state government we did. About 10 years ago, I heard the word disaggregation. I had a vague understanding, but I represented downtown Flushing at the time. And some community organizations came to me and asked me to sponsor this very similar legislation. If you change the terms to AAPI, it was pretty much the same bill. And I'll tell you why Senator Gianaris is so important. I know he doesn't know this. I mean, he does. Voters know it, and that's the important thing. The bill was a good one for the AAPI community. Every reason that was stated by the previous speaker. And the assembly sponsor at the time was a different individual. And we did a bill, and it was sort of, we had some interest in the Senate. And then somebody, an assembly member who's no longer in the assembly or the Senate, came to me and said, you know, you're in the minority in the Senate. The minority really can't get a bill passed as significant as this. I had to drop bring sanity to the Senate. And it's with his help and Senator Lou and really everybody's help that we were able to pass this legislation. I'm a proud co-sponsor. And many years ago, I was a district manager in the census. Queens was broken up. I think we had 4 or 5 district managers. And there were so many obvious, really discriminatory descriptions in those questions on the census form, the long form we had at that time. And we were troubled by it even then. So today we come together and ask the governor to sign this bill as she did the other one in 2021. And I think it's by working together that we are able to accomplish so much. So this coalition is a good one, and let us hope that we don't have to come back next year.
You will not, inshallah, be coming back next year. You're coming back with a different.
With a different
You will be here with a different attitude.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And next we have our very own Assembly member Zahra Hamdani, who has also been a huge champion of this bill and a huge supporter.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Zahra Hamdani. We are here in the heart of my district on Steinway Street, and this is the same street where our city government made clear that they understood members of the MENA community to be separate from whiteness. What I mean by that is, under Mayor Mike Bloomberg, he started a unit in the NYPD called the Demographics Unit. They listed out 28 ancestries of interest, and a number of those ancestries were the same nations of origin that comprise the heart of the MENA community. And to be on that list meant you would be surveilled for every aspect of your daily life. You were surveilled when you went to the barbershop, you were surveilled when you smoked hookah, you were even surveilled when you went to play soccer at Astoria Park. And yet, when it came to the purposes of state support, that disaggregation disappeared. And constituents of mine who have a darker skin color than I do were considered in the eyes of the state as being white. And we have a broad consensus in our state and in our country of the existence of systemic racism that has been perpetrated by the state at every single level. And in attempts to rectify that, we have been trying to lift up the same communities who've been pushed down. But the key to ensure that that is spread to each and every member that deserves it is the question of who counts as a person of color. And in the eyes of the state, when it comes to support, members of the MENA community have not been included in that count. I'm so thankful to the work of this coalition, to the work of Rana, to the work of Jessica and Mike in leading NYL, apologies, in leading this fight to ensure that finally what we know as fact is understood as the same by the state. But with any piece of legislation, it does not just need to pass the Assembly, it does not just need to pass the Senate, it needs to be signed into law by the governor. And there are too many pieces of legislation that fail at this final hurdle. And I'm here today to join this coalition in saying that we understand this journey is not complete until we receive that signature. And this community for far too long has been ignored and erased at best by executives across this state. And what we are hoping and what we are fighting for is that recognition, and we will only understand it to be such when we see that pen meet the paper and this piece of legislation become law. Thank you very much. Yes.
I'm signing right here.
100%. We actually put that ask out for our office last week. So if anybody wants to double down on that, then feel free to. With the coalition. So over the past year and a half, with this bill as our main focus, we've been building a New York-based Middle Eastern and North African coalition. And that coalition is over 14 organizations today. We're really proud of the efforts that we have made as a community, as a group of various organizations that are serving various subsets of our community and the dire needs of our community. So today we're going to hear from some of the members of this coalition on why this bill is so deeply important to them. And the first person that we have up is Salma Tawi, who's with the New York Muslim Organizing Committee. Where are you? Where are you, Mike?
The Middle Eastern and North African category is crucial. The state agency departments that collect demographic data as it would accurately capture a distinct cultural, ethnic, and geographical region that has very specific needs. Without this category, services such as education and healthcare may overlook the specific challenges and requirements of individuals from the MENA region, leading to inadequate support and resource allocation. When MENA folks are lumped into a white category, we lose crucial information and data that tells us very distinct needs within certain communities. As members of the MENA community, when we fill out paperwork at a hospital or a school and find more than 60 races and ethnicities but can't identify with a single one of them, we feel ignored, we feel neglected, and we feel unseen. Signing this bill ensures equitable distribution of services and fostering a more inclusive approach to policymaking and resource allocation within diverse communities. We're so happy with the passing of the bill in the state Senate and Assembly, and we ask the governor to sign the bill immediately.
Okay, hurry up. All right, next up we have Christine Sardinian from the Armenian Action
Hi, good morning. I'm the New York field organizer for the Armenian American Action Network, and we enthusiastically support this bill to create a distinct MENA category here in New York. This is a social justice issue for our communities, and this is our moment, Governor Hochul. We have long histories of immigration, refugeehood, and racialization, as well as legal, educational, workplace, and linguistic marginalization. This bill will allow us to see and address discrepancies in educational attainment, housing, employment, domestic abuse, healthcare, and more. We will be able to accurately document discrimination and hate crimes, and we will finally be allocated resources to address these issues that we live daily in New York with the new data and to better uplift our amazing communities. With this bill, we will see ourselves and our experiences accurately reflected in the New York State Census. We are proud to stand as a part of this coalition today, so proud. It's been an amazing experience. And to finally create proper demographic identification of New York's diverse MENA communities. We thank Senator Gianaris and Assemblymember Rojas Gonzalez for your support over the years. Thank you to the Senate and Assembly members who are here for passing it. And we very much so look forward to Governor Hochul signing it into law. Thank you.
I always say this every time, but our work has only been possible thanks to the work of the AAPI community and the data disaggregation efforts that they have been making for the past decade here in New York. And so I'm very, very honored to introduce Jimin, who will be representing CACF.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jimin. I'm the Data Policy Coordinator at CACF, Coalition for Asian American Children and Families. First, I want to thank Senator JGR, thank Senator Gianaris, and all of you elected officials who are here today to make sure that this historic bill passes finally passes and the Governor Hochul signs it. Senator Liu said before that the governor has signed this bill in 2021, and the language and the inspiration is the same. And we asked Governor Hochul to sign this bill immediately, and we asked for support in making sure that the MENA community has true recognition and true data equity in New York City and New York State. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. The next person that we have is Yusuf Ibarra, who is a small business owner. You all must have gone to Mo Cafe, right? Yes. And is also the president of Yama Action.
Thanks, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Just gonna keep it short. I'm Yusuf Mubarak from the Yemeni American Merchants Association. And the Yemeni community wants to thank Assemblymember Gonzalez Rojas and Senator Gianaris for working so hard to include the MENA community finally. This is not a race issue, this is a resource issue. This is about getting the help to the people who need it. So we urge Governor Kathy Hochul to sign this bill immediately because my family, State Senator Gianaris' family, have some celebration lamps to go, right?
Next up, we have Sedma Mohammed from the Arab American Family Support Center.
Hi everyone, my name is Sedma Mohammed. I am the Associate Director of Advocacy Engagement at the Arab American Family Support Center. At the Arab American Family Support Center, we provide culturally responsive, linguistically competent, and trauma-informed social services to immigrants and refugees across New York City. In 2023, we provided 16,000 services in 36 languages citywide. As a community-based organization, we are deeply aware that Arab Americans and other Middle Easterners and North Africans are systemically excluded from data collection, rendering our distinct needs invisible. Our communities do not perceive themselves to be white. We are not perceived to be white. Our communities have been de facto systemically excluded from data collection. We have seen the reverberating effects on our healthcare, education, employment, housing, political representation, and much more. For example, on the ground, many of us saw the devastating impact of COVID-19 on our communities. Independent research later showed that MENA communities experienced higher mortality rates compared to non-Hispanic whites. However, government data and thus policy did not reflect this reality. Our stories are not understood, do not inform decision making, and are not considered in resource allocation. It's time for New York State to recognize Middle Eastern and North African communities now. We extend our gratitude to State Senator Gianaris, Assemblymember Gonzalez Rojas, Assemblymember Mondani, Assemblymember Sulisky, and all the other co-sponsors for their tireless efforts. We now call on Governor Hochul to sign this critical legislation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for